Lucius Annaeus Seneca was one of the wealthiest men in Rome. At his peak, he was worth roughly 300 million sesterces, an almost incomprehensible fortune. He owned vineyards, estates, and had the ear of emperors. And yet, this same man spent his life writing about the dangers of wealth, the freedom of poverty, and the corruption that comes with wanting more. To his critics, and there were many, this looked like hypocrisy. How could a man preach Stoic detachment while sitting on a pile of gold? The philosopher Publius Suelius attacked him publicly, asking Rome, "What kind of wisdom earns such enormous riches in just 4 years of royal friendship?" It's a fair question, and Seneca never really ran from it. His answer was something more interesting than a denial. Seneca didn't believe that the Stoic path required poverty. He believed it required indifference, a genuine psychological freedom from the grip of money, whether you had it or not. The wise man, he wrote, can step out of the richly furnished house as calmly as he entered it. The house doesn't define him. Neither does losing it. This distinction matters enormously. Most people treat wealth as a goal, something to acquire, protect, and expand. For Seneca, wealth was just a circumstance. What mattered was your relationship to it. Does it control you, or do you control it? He tested himself deliberately. He would spend days eating coarse food, wearing simple clothes, sleeping on a hard bed, not as punishment, but as training. He wanted to know, viscerally, that he could survive without comfort. "I do this," he wrote, "to find out whether the mind protests. If you can sit with discomfort without anxiety, then you're free. If the thought of losing your money fills you with dread, then your money owns you, regardless of how much philosophy you've read." This is the core of Stoic desire control. The Stoics divided the world into 2 categories: things within our power, and things outside it. Wealth sits firmly in the second category. Markets collapse, emperors confiscate, ships sink, fires burn. No matter how clever or careful you are, external fortune is always, ultimately, unstable. What is within your power is how you respond. Whether you panic or remain steady. Whether you define your worth by your account balance or by something more durable, your character, your judgment, your relationships, your integrity. Seneca put it plainly. It is not the man who has too little who is poor, but the man who hankers after more. Poverty, in the Stoic sense, is not a number. It's a state of mind, a chronic hunger that no amount of money can fill. And by that definition, the wealthiest people Seneca knew were among the most desperately poor. He wrote about this hunger with precision. Desire, once fed, doesn't disappear, it grows. The man who wanted 1 house now wants 2. The man who wanted a country estate now wants a private harbor. There is no natural ceiling to appetite. And so the pursuit never ends, the anxiety never lifts, and the man who has everything still wakes up afraid of losing it. The paradox of the rich Stoic was Seneca's lived argument against this trap. By staying wealthy but practicing detachment, by keeping his fortune without being held by it, he was trying to demonstrate something. That the goal was never poverty, it was freedom. Voluntary simplicity as practice, chosen discomfort as inoculation. Of course, the tension never fully resolves. Seneca admitted it. He was not a perfect Stoic. He called himself a work in progress, a man who saw the right path clearly and still sometimes stumbled. His wealth, his proximity to Nero's court, his political compromises, all of it complicated the clean lines of his philosophy. But maybe that's exactly why he still speaks to us. Not as a saint, but as someone genuinely wrestling with the contradiction of wanting to live simply while being embedded in a world that rewards excess. He knew what it felt like to be tempted. He knew the subtle comfort of a warm bath and a good wine. And he still tried. The question Seneca leaves us with is not, should I be rich or poor? The question is, who is in charge, you or your desires? Can you hold what you have loosely enough that losing it wouldn't break you? Can you want things without needing them? That gap, between wanting and needing, is where Stoic freedom lives. Seneca didn't close it perfectly, but he spent his whole life pressing against it, and in the end, when Nero ordered his death, Seneca faced it with composure. His fortune gone, his influence gone, his life ending, and according to those who were there, he was calm. He comforted the people weeping around him. He asked for tablets to write his final thoughts. Perhaps the wealth was never really his. He'd just been holding it for a while.